Hey guys, it's Dazzy, and I'm back to do my review of the season 2 finale of Schooled. It was called Clueless, and what an episode, right? Holy crap, this is probably, my favorite episode of Schooled ever. I mean, it was just so amazing, and I'm hoping I get through this without screaming or crying because but there's no guarantee that that won't happen. I was just so happy with this episode. I just can't contain it. Oh, I just loved it. Okay, so first off, I'm going to briefly address the Toby and Rick storyline, which I thought was pretty adorable. I felt sorry, for Toby because he was only asked to the prom by the senior girl Dawn because it was all a ruse so she could meet her boyfriend at the prom who her parents didn't approve of, which I thought was kind of sad. And poor Rick and Glasgow find out and they tell Toby about it, and he's so crushed. And but he did end up going to play laser tag with Veronica and the other kids, which I thought was pretty awesome. And that part at the end where Rick was playing laser tag and he was freaking hilarious with all his baby lines he kept saying, and you just gotta love Rick, right? He just adds such comic relief to the show a lot. It was just I was dying laughing at him. Well, that's my little spiel on that. And I'm going to move on to the CB and Lainey storyline, which I must say, most of my predictions in my finale video that I did last week were proven correct in this episode. One being that Barry and Lainey had already broken up prior to the finale, and Adam Goldberg actually confirmed that this is what episode 21 dealt with on Twitter when he was making several tweets after the episode aired. And I know it had to, hurt him not to be able to fully resolve the Barry Laney relationship, and he's got lots of backlash about it. But I'm glad they decided to go ahead and air the finale anyway, and they kind of did the best with what they had. I think that was, Adam's whole, thing is that he didn't really get to tie up the CB and the Barry and Laney relationship. So I know that had to hurt him, and a lot of fans were like shocked, when the episode started, and they didn't know it. Those that didn't know anything about it, I had already seen, a lot of shock leading up to the finale, but on social media. But a lot of people that just were, didn't know anything about the episode went into it, completely shocked when they saw, that Barry and Laney had broken up at the beginning. But at the beginning of the episode, when they show this little montage of Barry and Lainey moments, and Lainey says that she and Barry agreed to end things mutually, what stuck out most for me during that whole part where she was explaining what happened with him was the fact that she said they decided to break up, maybe not forever, but for now. And that kind of pained me a little bit. It kind of pained me to hear that because it seems like they're leaving it open, for Barry to come back in the future, which I hope that doesn't happen. I'm, sorry to the Blaney fans, but who may be listening, but I'm just so tired of Barry coming back again and again. I just think Lainey needs to finally let him go. I think it's part of her past. She knows she's gotten over her rock star thing. She's got her mom in her life now. I just think she needs to, move on from Barry and just let him go. I just think he's holding her back. I really think he is. I don't think my heart could really handle him coming back into the picture again. I think it's finally time for school to phase out that relationship, especially because Barry is never there and he's in Detroit, and he's only been in this season 3 times, in episodes 3 times this year. I just think it's really hard to develop a romantic relationship on a TV show and make it believable if the character's never there. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. But and like Wilma said, it's hard for a relationship to grow when someone being so far away. And there were lots of references throughout this whole finale to long distance relationships and how they are hard and don't even, hardly ever work out. And Lainey even called it the worst. We then see Lainey mourning her breakup, and she sees the movie Clueless, which gives her, a boost of confidence that she could get by her on her own without Barry holding her back. And we see her, strutting down the hallway in that yellow plaid outfit that Cher wore in Clueless, which is one of my favorites from the movie. It's a very iconic, outfit. And man, does she look absolutely smoking hot in that outfit. She looks very confident, without a care in the world. And AJ just looks fabulous throughout this whole entire episode, I must add. Just put that little tidbit in there. She walks into the teacher's lounge and she's like bombarded immediately by Rick and Johnny Adkins, and they question her about her breakup with Barry. And Johnny, said that he heard he dumped her for one of his nurses at the hospital where he works and went to Toronto, the Paris of Canada. And Lainey says, well, we all know Montreal is the Paris of Canada, which was pretty funny. And I actually knew this scene was coming because I'd seen it the day before. And it was just, and also from an interview that I saw with Brett and AJ a few weeks ago, but it still didn't make it any less funny. I mean, I think it was really funny. And Lainey, tells him the breakup was mutual, which is another thing I got right from my video. I thought, their relationship was going to be a mutual thing. I didn't think he was going to cheat on her or something like that. I think it was just going to be a mutual breakup. So we don't really know what happened because they didn't explain it, but maybe they'll do that episode eventually and maybe give us some closure, give the Blaney fans some closure. But Wilma comes in and tells them to leave her alone. And then I love when she says, "Are you fine? I can make you a pie." I just burst out laughing because I love Wilma so much. And some of her little, one little lines just always make me just roll over in laughter. It's just so funny. And John Glasgow comes in and he says he wanted to know if she would help CB and Wilma out with the prom committee. And she's like, "Thank you for treating me like a fully functioning person." And then he tells her, he heard about the breakup and wants her to take her mind off, hoping that the being on the prom committee will help take her mind off things. And he said he heard that Barry crushed her heart on a hot air balloon ride. And she says, "Oh, I actually like that one. I'll go with that one." And they all give her this big group hug. And the look on her face is like, oh my gosh, But later we see Wilma and CB in the gym talking about, decorations for the prom. And Wilma completely changes the conversation to Lainey and Barry's breakup and how he's handling it now. And he says, you pined for her forever. And now that she's met someone, and now that you've met someone, boom, Lainey is right back on the market again. And he tells her, "Oh, come on, that's all in the past." And Wilma says, "So you're telling me you have absolutely no feelings for Lainey anymore?" And he says he's happy with Paloma and just to let it go. And then when Lainey walks in, he kind of looks at her like, oh, uh-oh. And Wilma says, "You didn't say no." And he makes this expression like, "Please stop talking. She's here now." And like I predicted in my video, Wilma's our hero here. She's the queen of our ship. She's making these two, realize they have feelings for each other this whole episode, which I just love her so much. She's nosy, but she gets the job done sometimes, which I love it. After Lainey comes in, they discuss, what they should do as a theme for the prom. And CB almost makes it kind of a point to gloat about his relationship with Paloma. And he says he's sorry, he didn't mean to rub it in her sad face. It kind of made me mad because, I'm thinking, he's trying to drive a nail, drive a nail further in the coffin, back when you broke up with me, you hurt me, not broke up with him, but, kind of broke his heart and kind of he was gloating to get back at her for that. But maybe, it's his turn to gloat because, she did it all the time when he was with her, when he wanted to be with her and she was with Barry. So I totally get why he would do that. But like I also said in my predictions video, I think his feelings, Wilma kind of got his feelings, kind of stirred up his feelings a little bit before she came in. So it's kind of creeping back in on him and he's trying to gauge her reaction, maybe trying to convince himself that he's happy with Paloma and he doesn't want to be with Lainey anymore. Especially because Wilma brought it up prior to her coming into the gym. But you can also tell from Wilma's expressions and looks during this scene that she's kind of fed up with the whole thing too. And she wants them to confess their feelings for each other, finally, But they decide on the theme, the Tunnel of Love. And that was another thing that I got right too, the tunnel that connects England and France. And I do like the idea that CB had of the slip and slide of love. I think that's kind of funny. And I wouldn't mind Lainey and CB doing some kind of slip and slide, and if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. But anyway, CB said he has to meet Paloma. He has to go meet her for their afternoon delight, which we all know what afternoon delight means. But he says they just their afternoon ice cream date. And the look on Wilma's face, and she says, "Good Lord." But I think he knew good and well what he was saying. He just wanted to gauge Lainey's reaction. You cannot convince me that he did not want to see what she would think. He even did this little wink, after he said it. But after CB leaves, Wilma asks Lainey, what it's like to see CB with a girlfriend. and that if she'd broken up with Barry a few weeks earlier, that girlfriend could have been her. And Lainey says, well, we all know he had a crush on me, but I just think of him as a friend. But Wilma's not having it. She knows, something's up and that they're perfect for each other. And she's just trying her hardest to get them together, which, reminds me of myself, or all of us that ship them. We want them together so bad. We then see, Wilma and Lainey walking down the hallway, and they're carrying supplies to decorate the Tunnel of Love. And they run into Paloma, who's looking for CB, and she says she has some news. And I love the way Wilma asks if she's pregnant. Like, because I always had this fear, in the back of my mind that Paloma might end up pregnant and thus destroy, any burgeoning romance that may develop between CB and Lainey, which I don't think they would do that on the show. But, you never know. And please, writers, don't do that. I'm begging you, please don't do that. Because I think it would completely ruin CB and Lainey's relationship. But Paloma tells them she's got an opportunity to go to Brazil to help protect the endangered tree frogs. And she says she'll be gone the whole summer and will miss CB. And they try to convince her that she should go. And Lainey tells her, it's only 3 months. And Paloma agrees, oh, that's not too bad. And, and Wilma says, when Paloma leaves, she kind of calls her Erica Kane, which is the villain on the soap opera All My Children. And I just love how she calls Lainey that because she's just so amazing. And Lainey says, no, I just told Paloma to live out her dream, but Wilma looks at it on the bad side, saying that she may get injured or hurt, and then CB will be all Lainey's when she gets back. And one of my favorite lines from this whole show was when Wilma said Paloma might be an independent woman with no face. I almost died laughing. I laughed the whole commercial break after that. Just, that line is so funny. An independent woman with no face. Then we see Lainey bringing in color swatches to choose the color for the inside of the tunnel to CB's classroom so he can look at it. And he's stress juggling in his classroom. And this is the scene I was talking about in my video where he's upset about Paloma leaving to save the tree frogs. And Lainey is jealous, that he calls Paloma smoking hot. And CB sits down on the desk and he says it sucks because he really liked her. And all she was always talking about her passion, and he hoped that he was her passion. And I'm like, oh, how sweet is CB, wanting a girl to love him so much. I just had these sad little heart eyes listening to him. But she tries to cheer him up, saying it's only 3 months. And he interjects, saying that it was nice, to have someone. And he thought he had a shot, but now it's gone. And that just broke my heart, you guys, because, another girl is, making CB feel sad. And I just wanted to yell, the someone you need is right in front of you, CB, Anyway, it made Lainey feel guilty, that she encouraged Paloma to go on this trip. And she even expresses that to him, but she kind of plays it off saying, it's about the colors for the tunnel, that she's feeling guilty for asking him about that, instead of what she's really feeling guilty about. But she says she'll take it off his plate. And I love that he says, Lainey, you're a really good friend. And part of me, thought maybe he's just, he wants her to say, that she wants him. Part of me was kind of like, maybe he's saying that to her because he really wants her to say she wants him. But, that kind of further drove the knife into her heart, when he said that, that she was a really good friend. So she said she was feeling guilty and didn't know what to do about it. So she decides to go on a walk to clear her head, just like Cher does in Clueless. And I got that right too. And I didn't think she was going to do this because I didn't think she was going to do it because she was guilty. I thought she was going to do it because she was jealous. And maybe she was a little bit, but it was more because she was feeling guilty. And she does this whole voiceover where she rationalizes what she did, and just like Cher did in Clueless, and she was encouraging Paloma, to follow her dream and be an independent woman. She wasn't trying to sabotage CB's relationship, that he was just a friend who made her laugh and always made her feel good. And they showed that montage of when he said he'd do anything for her in the Dr. Barry episode, when he helped her, ace the test and Outbreak, and when they were laughing about the gossip the students were spreading about them in the Glasgow Mascot episode, which, oh, I love when they do that. It made me cry. And she says, I have to admit, he's kind of cute and his crazy dance moves are fun. And And then she has that epiphany moment, that she liked CB and she was totally crazy, head over heels for CB. Oh, I love that she said that. Oh, I just love that. And they showed another montage of them with her putting her head on his shoulder and kick like a girl, and the intimate high five from that same episode and the hug from Outbreak. Oh, it was just so freaking amazing. I cried. And then she says, oh boy, because she's got this decision to make, whether does she tell CB that she likes him now, that he's got this girlfriend, and possibly, conflict him that he has to, decide whether to stay with Paloma or be with her now. And maybe she's even thinking she's lost her chance now because he had a crush on her in the past and he's moved on. And now she's completely lost her chance to be with him. But she goes to Wilma and tells her, that CB and her were meant to be together. And Wilma's like, you tried to deny it, but Wilma knew. And I love that because we all been knew, right? And Lainey says, she doesn't know what to do now because of Paloma. And Wilma sort of lies to her and says that CB still has feelings for her. And she's like, really? He says, well, he did not say it. And so Lainey rationalizes it and says, it's fate because everything is lining up. And I love when she says it's fate, and Wilma goes, and Wilma. Wilma is so me. I just love her so much. She's my hero, if I hadn't said that already. But Wilma tells her to go ahead and tell him now. And she even turns her around and pushes her toward him. And CB asks if he can talk to her for a second because he has something to tell her. And she says, well, I have something to tell you too. And he goes first. And he says the whole Paloma leaving thing is just a sign that he shouldn't be afraid to go after what he wants. She tells him, don't be afraid because she thinks, he's going to say he wants her. And I love that she calls him Mr. Brown, which gave me such huge art eyes because I love when she calls him Mr. Brown. And he says, what he wants is, and she's like waiting with bated breath, and they have that whole, dramatic pause, where they're trying to build up to what you think he's going to say. And she's hoping, that he'll say he wants her. And then he says he wants a trip to the Amazon with his girlfriend, and she's so disappointed. And then he asks, what did you want to tell me? And she's obviously deflecting and makes something up on the fly and says that the paint store ran out of paint and they have to go with another one. And he said, oh, that's a bummer. And she says, yeah, well, you can't always get what you want. And he walks away. She walks away and he's watching her, and you just know he knows something's wrong with her. He's really good, I think, at reading people, especially her. And I think he knows what's going on with her. And he definitely figured out that she knew he had a crush on her. Back in the Singled Out episode, he figured it out, but I'm pretty sure he figured out what was going on with her. He may not have thought that she had feelings for him, but he may have thought, she's jealous of Paloma now, or maybe, that she's just upset over the whole Barry breakup, that seeing him with a girl just makes her, makes her feel bad. Then at the prom, Wilma asked her, why she didn't tell CB about how she felt. And she said it's because he's already made his choice and he's going to Brazil with Paloma. And Wilma says, but he didn't make that choice. You're letting him go. He said she's worked too hard for her to screw it up. And I was screaming, that's right, Wilma. We've all worked way too hard and shipped them so hard together for over a year, for her to just let him go. So she tells her, don't let him leave this gym tonight without telling him how you feel. And Lainey says, that's not going to happen because she can't even face him. And she leaves to go make sure that the Eiffel Tower doesn't fall over. And Wilma sets CB and Lainey up, makes them ride the Tunnel of Love under, the ruse that it's all a test to make sure that it's working properly before they send the kids through. And Lainey doesn't really want to, but she goes with CB's, encouragement. And that's another thing I predicted correctly, because I saw that commercial last week during the Goldbergs, and they showed that picture on Twitter with that you could see the tunnel in the background. So I kind of got that part right. So they ride together, and this is, oh my gosh, this scene is just perfect. I don't think they could have done a more perfect scene between these two, but I love when they're riding through the tunnel, and he says, he asks her if she's okay, and she says she is, and he says, I don't think you are. And he says, he's been so focused on his relationship with Paloma that he didn't ask her how she's handling the whole Barry breakup. And she says that that's not why she's upset. And he says, you can tell me anything, Lainey. And she turns to him and says, don't go to Brazil. And he says, why not? And she says, because I want you to stay. And he nods and he says, give me a reason to stay. And she kisses him. And oh my gosh, my heart just almost exploded when she kissed him. I mean, I was expecting something to happen in the tunnel, but I was hoping they would kiss, but I wasn't sure they were actually going to go there, but they did. And I was so happy. And it wasn't just a peck either. It was actually, they actually made out a little bit when and he kissed her back. Oh, and they switched sides. Oh, it was just glorious. It was so glorious. I never imagined they would actually let them kiss like that, but they did. And I can't express how much I love that kiss. And I've watched the scene with them in the tunnel probably 50 times at least since it aired. And it still gives me chills every time I watched it. I actually watched it probably about 6 times before recording this video. I mean, I just can't get enough of it. It's just so amazing. And then there's this little quick moment that they have right after where she's, like she closes her eyes while she's still holding him, and as if she's committing, the moment to memory. She has this little pause, and it's actually a thumbnail for this video, and it's just so freaking romantic and beautiful. It was so much more than I was expecting. And the dialogue, that don't go, I want you to stay and give me a reason to stay. Oh, that dialogue was just perfect. I still can't get over that line, give me a reason to stay. Oh, I love it. CB knew what she was going to do or say, and, he wanted it, and he wanted her to kiss him. I so think he wanted her to kiss him, and it was just so amazing. Thank you, Adam Goldberg. Thank you. I love you so much right now. Thank you for taking a huge risk and letting them kiss, knowing the backlash it would cause. You don't know how many people you made happy by that scene. Oh, it made me so happy. But after the ride, Wilma, asked how their tunnel ride went, and then the both of them kind of like have this sheepish little look on their face, and they smile, and Wilma says, "Well, ooh la la." And I was like, yes. If she even has, if you look at Wilma's dress, her dress even has little lips on it. It's like she knew it was going to happen. And if you look closely at her dress, it's actually on some of the lips, it's actually written "Life is Love," it's just awesome. I love how they put little things like that in there. And, Wilma has known all along, and we just love it. I love that she did this. She's definitely our hero. Lainey looks so shocked, that she actually went through with it after they get done with the ride. And CB is just, so happy. And it reminds me of that Kick Like a Girl episode when he told Tom Scott, that getting that first kiss isn't easy, but it'll happen when the time is right. And it did. And it was just so perfect. It was just the perfect moment. And I was so ecstatic that CB was happy. I mean, I'm so happy that he's finally happy, and he's got the kiss, from the girl he loved, and it just melts my heart. I love them so much. Then we kind of see this montage of the rest of the night, and then in that one part where they look at each other, and CB looks up from, when he's serving punch, and she turns around and they share that look, and he gives her this expression like, what the hey, let's just give this a shot, almost like he's saying, let's give this a shot. And then you see them dancing together with all the other teachers, and it's kind of left open-ended, which AJ actually said it would end this way, which I actually thought it was going to be a bigger, cliffhanger than that. But it actually leaves it open-ended, but you're pretty sure, where it's going in the end is what AJ said. And you kind of know that CB and Lainey are going to get together now. And, CB now has this decision, whether to stay with Paloma or try a relationship with Lainey. And I really, really hope they get another season, because it would really suck if it just ends there. But we need to see if they get together, which I'm pretty sure it's going there now, especially because AJ said you're pretty sure you know where it's going. and that this has been that it was been coming for a long it's been coming for a long time, and she's excited to explore it. And one of my friends, Little Quiet Canadian, actually told me about this, that she actually said that in a live stream that she saw. But what I'm thinking is going to happen now is that CB and Lainey are probably going to spend the summer apart from each other. I think they're going to, kind of decide what they both want in romantic wise. And Paloma's going to go to Brazil, and I'm thinking he may either break up with her or just kind of like tell her, we need to put things on hold right now until she gets back. And I'm not sure if he'll tell her about Lainey yet. But another part of me thinks that maybe CB and Lainey will start their relationship right away, which would be great. But we won't get to see that, because they're going to be out of school for the summer, and they always start the new season with a new school year. So we won't get to see that unless they do some sort of montage at the beginning of the next season, which I think for the show, at least, they will probably take the summer off to decide what they want, especially because Lainey, just broke up with Barry, and she may need time to mourn that relationship a little bit more. And she even said something earlier in the season during the Lainey's mom episode that she wanted to, find herself over the summer. So maybe she's going to go on a trip by herself to help her make her decision. And we know she won't CB now, so it's up to him now, I guess, to decide what he wants. And I'm hoping he's going to want her. I've always had this feeling, if he did find another girlfriend and Lainey developed feelings for him, that he would go for it, because I think he really loves her, and I think she's what he really wants. So I'm hoping that's what he decides. I just want to point out a few other things that I noticed in this episode that maybe was put there for a reason, or it may be coincidental. But in the scene where CB tells Lainey he's going to go with Paloma to Brazil, he's wearing a rainforest jungle tie, which kind of signifies his choice of Paloma. But at the prom, if you look, he's wearing a butterfly tie, which, if you remember, Lainey was a butterfly for Halloween in the Run, Rick, Run episode. And CB even recited the lyrics to Butterfly by Crazy Town in the very first episode of the season. And that's always carried with me. And I've always had that butterfly as symbolizing their relationship. And, he chose Paloma first, but now he's choosing Lainey. So he chose the rainforest tie first, but now he's choosing the butterfly, Lainey. And I think it also represents Lainey letting go of her past, the butterfly and being her own person. And butterfly also symbolizes, new life or new creation, something that's been in brewing or forming, and then it suddenly emerges, like their relationship developing into a romantic one. So I always think of the butterfly as symbolizing their relationship, because it was, forming, and now it's blossoming into this beautiful creation. Cher also, Lainey also wears Cher's red dress from Clueless at the prom, which red, symbolizes love. And she's also wearing a heart pendant and earrings, which could represent her newfound love for CB as well. So there's just little things I noticed, and also the lips on Wilma's dress, because she was hoping for them to have a kiss, in the tunnel too. So that was kind of a couple of things I noticed in the episode. The song choice I thought was very fitting for CB and Lainey's moment, "Dreams" by the Cranberries. If you listen to the lyrics, there's several lyrics, that say, "I know I felt like this before, but now I'm feeling it even more because it came from you." And I'm thinking, that might be, CB, he felt that way about Lainey before, and now he's feeling it even more because she kissed him now. And in Lainey, in part where it says, "Then I open up and see the person falling, here is me," a different way to be. So maybe now it's her turn to fall for CB. And then it's let's see, another part in the song, it says, "Now I tell you openly, you have my heart, so don't hurt me. You're what I couldn't find. Totally amazing mind, so understanding and so kind. You're everything to me," which, when I think about that in terms of them too, it just makes me it makes me cry. Another part at the end of the song, it says, it even says, "You're a dream to me," a dream to me at the end. So I love that too, because it, it reminds me of their, them both loving each other now, which I just love it. The song was perfect, I thought. I loved this song as a teenager, but I never really listened to the lyrics until after this episode, and I think it's perfect now, and I couldn't think of a better one for this moment. It's great from Lainey's point of view, but also from CB's. I think, that Lainey is CB's dream, and now it's vice versa now, that he's her dream now, and he has this chance to have her now. I think he's really going to go for it, and I just can't believe it. It just feels good to be validated that, all our hoping and all my hoping over this past year or so that I've been shipping them has finally come to fruition. And I lost hope for a while there, but I'm so happy that I held on to it and held on to that hope. But now I know. Now I'm going to go on to discuss something else about now that Lainey has feelings for CB. I know it's going to cause quite the controversy, and I know it already has. And I've actually written a post about this on Tumblr if you want to read it. But there are many fans of the Goldbergs and Schooled who want Barry and Lainey to end up together. And we all know, if you know, in real life, Barry doesn't end up with Lainey. And I saw several tweets after the show aired from fans that were angry about her being with CV now. And someone actually came for me when I defended and thanked Adam Goldberg for a great finale. But I decided not to engage with them because I've learned from being in the Raylo fandom, it's better not to add fuel to the fire. But I know why they're angry. And I pointed this out in what I wrote on Tumblr. But the show has constantly reaffirmed the Barry and Lainey relationship many times throughout the past season. And Lainey has even referred to him as the one. And she even said, it's always been you. And she chose Barry over and over again the past 2 seasons. So I can totally get why people would be outraged. But the fact of the matter is, it was pretty obvious, that they have been building towards CB and Lainey's relationship throughout the entire run of the show. And you have to be pretty blind not to notice it. I mean, I will admit that I even lost hope. And I've said that before. I've lost hope, especially after the Singled Out and Moving On episodes. And what angers me a lot is that people think that CB and Lainey have no chemistry. I just think they're completely kidding themselves. Their chemistry is completely off the charts. And that kiss should have proven that point even further. I mean, that kiss was amazing. And they haven't even let Lainey and Barry kiss once on the show, which is very telling. And they've let Julie and Rick kiss twice, which, is very telling. If they're not going to let their major romance on the show kiss, but they let this, minor one kiss, something's not right there. But everybody sees it on the show, Wilma especially, and that's why she tried to get them together in this episode the whole time. She's been wanting them to get together for a long time. I'm going to digress on that episode. I'm going to digress there a little bit, but I understand why the Blaney fans are upset. But the fact of the matter is, the writers are going to choose what they think is best for the show, and I'm just hoping that this is finally the nail on the coffin and the nail in the Barry and Lainey relationship. I'm hoping they will leave him in the past for good, and bringing him back now would just be a completely bad idea, in my opinion. It would anger those fans again, and it would make the CB and Lainey fans upset that they keep dragging it out. But that being said, I am totally pumped for the next season, and I hope they'll be able to shoot it on schedule and have at least some episodes out in the fall because of this coronavirus thing. I'm hoping that they will at least get something out. And I'm not sure if we can say that Lainey and CB are officially a canon couple now, but I think it's safe to say that the ship is at port and it's ready to sail, right? We're all aboard, ready to go, ready to set sail. I'm just hoping it will be a beautiful, amazing voyage for these two. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with it now, and I'm just so happy they kissed and that Paloma or Barry didn't show up at the end to ruin it all, which I was fearing that was going to happen, but it didn't happen, and I'm so glad. I was, they like to do a lot of parallels on this show, and I thought, Barry showing up at the end of the CB Likes Lainey episode was going to parallel Paloma showing up at the end of this episode, but it didn't happen, and I was so glad they decided not to do that. And I just think that moment in the tunnel was just so beautiful, and I've never seen a more perfect scene between a ship of mine. It was awesome. It was amazing. That's all I have to say. But I'm going to go ahead and conclude this. This is getting really long. This is a really long video, but I thank you so much for listening, and I hope to continue doing videos over the summer, at least maybe once every 2 weeks or so with specific themes. So if you have any ideas on what I should discuss that's school related, just let me know in the comments or on Twitter or Tumblr. And we can just bask in the glow now of that wonderful, glorious kiss for the rest of the summer, because I know I am going to. But before I go, I want to give a shout out to my friends in this group chat that I'm a part of called CB's Party Pad. And I just want to say we got our kiss, ladies. Woo! So bye for now. Love you all. Mwah.